Timber housing is the traditional method here in New Zealand. In this exciting episode, we're going to discuss 5 ways that you can improve a timber house. So maybe you've just bought a timber house or you're thinking about buying a timber house. Well, there's a few improvements you can make to increase the value and make sure that house stays solid for a long time. Now, one of the main problems with timber houses in New Zealand in particular is the windows are often not double glazed. On this job we have retrofitted double glazing. Here's a more obvious example here. This window usually has a window frame like this, and then it has a sash in the middle that's also a timber frame, and it's usually hinged, and then it just opens like that. Now what we did was unscrewed the hinges, took that panel out, and once the panel was out, we just got an aluminium panel made, and that itself has an opening hinge system. So the advantage of that is you can just put the aluminium panel in, screw it, and seal it completely around here. Well, not the bottom, you've got to let drainage. You can seal it completely around the sides and the top, and then the opening mechanism is within the aluminium. And in some cases when the window is particularly bad, you have to think about reframing the window. So this is a new sill and this is a new frame, and then the insert's gone in between. And in the past, in other cases, instead of doing a timber window, we've just replaced timber altogether with aluminium frame and everything, and used timber on the outside of the aluminium to recreate that timber frame look. So that's also an option when thinking about improving your windows. Now, another way that you can improve the value of a timber house is with insulation, as has been done here. This is underfloor insulation, and there's a vapor barrier on the ground here to prevent moisture from rising up and damaging the insulation, because you lose a lot of heat coming from the ground. So it's good to have underfloor insulation. And also in the roof space, it's very important to have like a high grade of insulation in that roof space above the ceiling, and that will prevent you losing heat through the roof. Also the walls, that's an option, but the walls are a bit more difficult because you have to either take the plasterboard off the inside or the weatherboards off the outside. Now, I mean, I don't have to say much more to make it clear how difficult that is. Important thing to consider if you go down that road is usually you have to go through the council because you're changing the way the cladding system works. There has to be adequate ventilation and things like that, so you usually have to go through the council. When you've got timber as the exterior of your home, the key is to keep moisture away from that timber. So you have to paint or stain. You have to seal the timber in some way that'll keep the moisture out. A lot of what happens when you buy timber houses is whoever's selling it will cover the place in paint just so it hides any blemishes and problems. So if you're buying a house, maybe have a little look around at the weatherboards, touch little areas that look dodgy, because a lot of the times they can cover up a lot of rot. So if you want to improve a house, that's something you can do. You can replace weatherboards and seal the weatherboards well. Another common problem with timber houses and timber cladding is that people put the cladding too close to the ground. So they'll put a box corner like this right down into the dirt, and that ends up like a wick of a candle, and it just soaks up the moisture. Now, moving on to the inside of a timber house. One of the advantages of having a timber framed house is that the walls can be moved around pretty easily. There's not much to them, plasterboard either side, bit of framing. When I was in Edinburgh, that was not the case. The homes over there, a lot of them were built out of stone, and I'd see guys spend half the day just clearing an opening in order to put a door in because it's solid stone. They were cutting through it, smashing it with sledgehammers. Here in New Zealand, you pull off some plasterboard on one side, knock off the plasterboard on the other side, and cut some studs out, and you can take a wall down in under an hour. So that's an advantage if you want to change the layout on a home. A lot of the older houses have separate rooms for dining, separate room for kitchen. A way to modernize and add value to the house is to open those areas up and create more of a living area. Now, another way to improve your timber home is by putting a new roof on it. Because the timber homes here in New Zealand, a lot of them are very old. Often the roofs don't look like this. Oh, it's so windy. So this is a roof that we recently redid. That's another video as well that a lot of you guys would have seen. It's a good way of adding value to a property. If you're a builder and you want to renovate a house, that's a good place to start, because if you go out and get quotes for it, you'll find that they're very high, and that's why roofs end up being neglected, because people don't want to pay for that cost. But if you do it yourself, you just have to pay for the materials. So out of all those 5 ways to improve your house, on this job we're pretty much doing every single one. We've done the roof, we're working on the weatherboards now.
There was a few cracks on the weatherboard where water was seeping in.
The insulation's in, the windows double glazed. We're not really moving any walls around though, are we?
No.
So those are 5 tips if you want to improve your timber house. If you don't want to improve it yourself, you can get in touch with me and I'll do it for you, provided you're in the Auckland area. Message me. All right, bye.